we're targeting a design criteria of 35 minutes for a charge. Okay, and so that'll be a charge for the typical route length. It's actually, as I just said, it's actually a design point. So going back to the comment I made earlier about designing batteries for aircraft, it's one of the considerations is how quickly do we want it to charge? How much power do you want to be able to draw from it?
Alice's flight is the latest in a growing global race to develop electric planes. The aviation sector accounts for about 2.8% of global CO2 emissions. What is more worrying is that emissions from flying have risen by 2% a year since the turn of the century, and they could reach a fifth of total emissions by 2050. As the global economy slowly but surely shifts to a lower carbon model, the aviation sector has been lagging behind. The prospect of electric flight is appealing in many ways and can help speed up decarbonisation in a growing sector. A number of manufacturers are developing electric air.
Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaRakakwadash Ma'amath. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and the elders. Double honors to my elder as well, Aharawan Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. And salutations to the fellow Akim, Awafim, and children that believe in truth and in sincerity. It's your brother Athan Yahweh back to another lesson, and Yahweh Ratzazah is edifying. And pretty much, as you saw the snippet of the video before I started speaking, play, all right, hey, just like our elders here of the Lions Den Camp say, all right, after they went from their first phase, all right, of the whole planinic, all right, and Operation Warp Speed, right, to go out there and issue the juice, so on and so forth. After that phase was over with, they were going to go into the whole carbon, all right, and the use of carbon and so on and so forth, all right, which to where it's we got proxy wars and things like that are going on right now, all right, all leading up to what, World War III, all right, as we're in the brink of it, and it's being ushered in, all right, as the bear is being on the forefront of a lot of these events that's happening throughout the four corners of the earth, because the Lord is putting them into a form of somewhat power, all right? The bear ultimately representing enough, all right? So, hey, as you can see, it says Russia says Nord Stream likely hit by state-backed terrorism, all right? And this is going into the gas pipelines, all right? So the Kremlin says damage to pipelines look like terrorism, all right? EU officially says leaks change nature of Ukraine conflict, right? They know that it would, all right? We know the EU uses, all right, along with NATO and their allies, uses America as the spearhead, all right, the hammer, all right, for them to say something to that extent, all right, shows the objective somewhat, all right? Europeans officials say Russian ships seen nearby. All right, so they're trying to blame it on Russia, all right? But Russia says otherwise. Russia is saying that it's backed by state-backed terrorism, all right? Like, this couldn't happen without America being involved, so to speak. All right, as you can see, a gas leak from Nord Stream 1 is seen in this picture, and this is the gas leak from Stream 2. All right, so these are the pipes. And it says Russia said on Thursday that leaks spewing gas into the Baltic Sea from pipelines to Germany appeared to be the result of state-sponsored terrorism. You know, and earlier in the weeks, and Putin, all right, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, have also made various comments and statements as far as whoever's aiding Ukraine is an enemy as well. And we know America has been aiding Ukraine, all right, just as well as anybody that's an ally of the European Union, all right, and basically NATO is a war, all right, and we know that Germany, I believe, is a part of NATO. Right, so Germany is a NATO ally, all right? Hey, as of 1955, they've been a NATO ally. All right. So whether Russia did it and stopped the gas going to Germany on purpose because they're allied to America, and they in America keep crossing that red line as Putin warned them not to. All right. Or America, help and put back this terrorism like threat, like Russia is so to speak saying. All right. Allegedly. Just ultimately to draw the ties from Russia and one of their allies, all right, to where they don't really have no dealings, all right, as far as the gas, all right. But the reason why the whole gas crisis and things like that are taking course, all right, and why you having people moving and trying to be innovative in the reason of the whole carbon and all that is going to be the second phase. All right, is because America is no longer going to be the forerunner of petrol, all right, of oil, all right, by way of what Ezekiel 38, all right, of the Lord raising up Gog and Magog, all right, Russia, all right, to be a forefront for these nations, all right, right now being the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and Syria. All right, as they're forming their own alliance, their own way of a NATO and EU to combat the NATO and the EU. All right, as it's going on right now, as you can see. All right, so you have gas, all right, being attacked over there as far as Russia pipelines going to Germany. All right, whether they're trying to deprive the communication, deprive the dependency on Germany via Russia by way of gas, and U.S. did it, or Russia did it because Germany is an ally. All right, whatever the case may be, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is the cause of it and is in the midst. All right. So just like our elders said of the Lions Den camp, how that next phase is going to be the whole CO2 and carbon emissions. All right. They're basically saying that, they're going to be making laws and, rules and regulations pertaining to the carbon that you consume. All right. CO2, carbon dioxide emissions, are the primary driver of global climate change. It's widely recognized that to avoid the worst impacts of climate change, the world needs to urgently reduce emissions, right? So they calling on the whole world globally for everybody to reduce so-called emissions. All right, this is what they blame the whole global warming, things like that on. All right, so when things begin to happen, right, like maybe when things begin to happen, all right, they can't really explain. All right, they have an excuse for it. They can put things in place as far as laws and rules and regulations. And ultimately, they trying to fulfill their new world order, man, to usher in the robots, all right, to basically limit the people from going out and about and traveling freely and doing the do as thou wilt, basically coming to an end to where the people being held inside, and then robots and these new innovative technologies being taken the place of people. All right. But how this responsibility is shared between regions, countries, and individuals has been an endless point of contention in international discussions, right? This is why they have their meetings, their summit meetings and their United Nation meetings and stuff like that, all right? Because they're trying to go into their new world order, their fourth industrial revolution, their global reset. This debate arises from the various ways in which emissions are compared as annual emissions by country, emissions per person, right? As annual emissions by country, emissions per person, historical contributions, and whether they adjust for traded goods and services. these metrics can tell very different stories, man. That's what ultimately they're trying to head to. All right, you think of emissions per person. All right, that they're gonna be able to track every individual of what carbon they're using up day to day. All right, Elder mentioned the whole Fitbit and even your iPhone, different apps and things like that that can track you. All right, that can it takes a number of how many steps you took of the day, how many calories you burned, so on and so forth. That's all information, metric, and data that they need for their system. All right. The algorithm that's gonna tie into what these devices that they want people to consume and take, right? So it's gonna be able to send signals off to whatever the host or base is gonna be, all right, of this system. Is gonna be able to send signals to and from the actual person, so to speak, all right? Along with what you got, things like, you had people mentioning like the Dick Gregory's and stuff like that, of mentioning what the smart dust, all right? All this coincides with the chemtrails, the metals and particles that they release out from planes and stuff, in the Shemayams, that ultimately they want us to breathe in and consume, that if you take these substances, these are going to leach on to you in a great way and be able to read your vitals and so on and so forth. All right. So that's pretty much what we got going on, headed into that second phase of their fourth industrial revolution, their global reset. All right. After this whole planinic, all right, and everybody and them, practicing hurting the people, all right, and giving them that herd-like mentality, all right, they're moving towards that second phase of the carbon CO2 emissions, all right, and now you have as well, they're attacking the gas pipelines over there in Russia, all right, to Germany, all right, which Germany is an ally of NATO, all right, so whether the U.S. did it or whether Russia did it, is all the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai as where we headed and what's coming into play. All right, I've got a couple scriptures, and it's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28 and verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches, man. All right. And this pride of this damn devil, to where he's keep poking the bear. All right. You got a lot of proxy wars coming on. It's ultimately just going to come to the shores of America. All right. Of this devil thinking he's so slick and he can do whatever he can do. But the people see of him, man. The Lord see of him ultimately. All right. This devil is wise, to where there's nothing that could be hid from this damn devil, to where he very well may have been the cause of that pipeline and drawing the line and cutting off the dependency of their ally, being Germany, from Russia, which is now their enemy. All right. The Kremlin. Hey, but with this wisdom, he got great riches, man. But again, that pride of thine heart have deceived thee. All right. The wisdom is no more in Teman. All right. The Lord is getting ready to judge Esau, Edom, to whereas they're still moving in that pride. All right. That mindset that they're in, that the Lord put them in. All right, so because of their pride, the cities are troubled, man. The scriptures say, I believe that's 2nd Ezra, all right, chapter 15, all right. Because of their pride, the cities are troubled, man. So it's only a matter of time where these nations are gonna retaliate, man, and put their foot down upon this broken hammer being America, all right, Babylon. From there, I want to go to Psalms 10 and verse 6. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Right, he's proposing as we need to minimize the carbon, global warming, so on and so forth, man. But he's a damn devil. He has a way more sinister plan deep down embedded in his heart, all right, his la'av, his mind, all right? And his tongue is mischief and vanity, man, all right? Even it's deceit, it's fraudulent, man, all right? This is Psalms 50 and 19. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. You know? He giveth his mouth to evil, and the tongue frameth deceit, man. You know? Psalms 55 and 20, I believe, is they come out speaking lies. And this Psalms 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Right? The same thing he did to the native and Seminole Indians. All right? He lies. All right? He'll come as propose a front as if he's about a plan or about some type of deal. All right? But he ultimately go against that deal. He's gonna go against the grain. He's gonna backstab you. He's a devil. All right, he's a liar and the father of it. Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man, right? Yet they were drawn. This is a diabolical demon, all right? So just some news, all right? Russia Nord Stream likely hit by stake-back terrorism, and that's what Russia stated, all right? You go into the undersea pipeline, it stretches about 745 miles, all right? It sends a lot of gas, almost 40. It say Russia supplied the EU with 40% of its natural gas last year. Germany, Europe's largest economy, was the largest importer in 2021, followed by Italy. In 2021, the UK imported 4% of its needs from Russia. And in June this year, it imported no Russian gas for the third month in a row. Right, so they're trying to cut off the ties of Russia. All right, so that pipeline from Russia to Germany very well could have been a doing of America. All right, but Shalom, Mahabatah, Yahweh Ratazah. This lesson was edifying, and DTA to the next one.